to record for YouTube.
I think he just did. Did I see that? Yeah, it's being recorded. We're good.
Okay.
Okay, let me open the agenda page. Okay, good afternoon, everyone. This is Brian Sullivan, Chair of Affordable Housing Trust. I will call the June 3rd meeting to order. This meeting is being conducted remotely. Please give me a moment to confirm all members and persons anticipated on the agenda can hear me. Members, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Meg Browers.
Here.
Penny Dye.
Here.
Chantal Murphy.
Here.
Abby De Molina. And welcome back, Brooke Moore.
Here, happily
Great.
here. Mr. Chair,
Awesome.
I have to step out for another meeting a little before at 1:15, but I'm here for now. I'll chime in when I leave, so you know I'm gone.
Okay, great. Well, let's hope that we wrap it up by then. So staff, to check in real quick, Christy Ferrantella,
Here.
Rachel Field,
Here.
Tracy McDonald. Tracy, I didn't hear you.
She's here. She's next to me.
Okay, got it. Dylan.
Here.
Okay, great. And Chantal, I said Chantal just come on.
You already called her.
I did. I'm sorry. This is a big field right now. And the housing otter, what's that? Oh, that's our new AI.
Yes.
All right, keep up, Sully, keep up. Today we might need a little bit of flexibility with the agenda. We have one agenda item that is may move, item 6. The 8th grade civics class, they're gonna come in at 12:45. So we may need to move that based on when they arrive. Are there any other edits, changes, suggestions on the agenda?
No.
Seeing none, look for an approval of the agenda. Sort
Make a
motion to
motion.
approve.
Motion to approve.
Thank you, Penny. In a second.
Second.
Second from
Great. Meg got that vote by roll call. Brooke Moore,
aye.
Meg Browers,
Aye.
Penny Dye.
Aye.
Everybody moved. Chantal Murphy,
Aye.
Abby De Molina,
Aye.
and Brian Sullivan tonight. Item number 3 is public comments for items not on the agenda. Are there any members of the public or any members of staff or the board that want to make public comments? Penny?
Yeah, I just would like to express heartfelt thanks to Tom Dixon for serving as the select board rep for the last year, which probably felt like 3 years to him, but so thanks to Tom Dixon.
It was a treat to work with Tom. Any other public comments? Seeing none, I'll close public comment. Look for item 4, an approval to the meeting minutes for Tuesday, March 4th and Tuesday, May 20th. Are there any edits, comments, changes? May I have a motion?
Motion to approve the minutes?
Thank you, Megan. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Abby. Vote by roll call. Meg Browers,
Aye.
Penny Dye,
Aye.
Abby De Molina,
Aye.
Chantal Murphy,
Aye.
Brian Sullivan's an aye. Brooke, I'm assuming.
I'll abstain.
Perfect, thank you. Moving on to an announcement. Habitat for Humanity has announced the lottery for the duplex at Waite Drive. The units will serve households earning 80% of the area median income. The application is open until 5 p.m. on Monday, June 16th. For more information on how to apply, please visit their office at 75 Old South Road or visit their website, which is www.habitatnantucket.org. Additionally, the second announcement is Richmond Development has opened applications for the lottery of 7 income restricted rental units in Meadows 1. The units will serve households earning up to 80% of the area median income. Applications are open until Monday, June 23rd. For more information, please visit their office at 1 Orchid Place or visit the website sebhousing.com. Any more on those announcements, Christy? I just kind of ran with that. Good. Okay. We will move down to item 7, closing cost assistance. Application 21.5 Allen's Lane for Tornovish and Tool.
Yes, so I can walk you through this. This is an application. It's created through the Qualified Family Member Covenant creation. And this unit is a sale between family members, so they are not actually restricted in the income the income limits for the initial purchase, but upon resale, those would go into effect. So it is a deed restricted unit, and the family did income qualify through Housing Nantucket. This is for a family of 3, and they already have a P&S, and they're trying to close at the end of this month.
Are there any questions?
Just to confirm through you, Mr. Chair, to Christie, not only are they not subject to the income restrictions, but the asset restrictions as well. Is that true?
Correct.
Thank you.
And Shanta?
I apologize. Did you guys get the stuff that I'd pointed out in my email? Awesome. Thank you.
Yes, and Dylan sent around the updated application.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much.
Any other question, comments, or anybody compelled to make a motion? Penny?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve the application.
I'll
Great.
second it.
Can you elaborate on the motion, Penny?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'll make a motion to approve the application for closing cost assistance for Grace Ann Tornovich and Patrick O'Toole of 21.5 Allen's Lane. Any excess funds to be repaid upon closing. Is that good enough?
Perfect. That's
Yeah.
great. Thank you. And I got a second from Brooke. Vote by roll call. Brooke Moore,
Aye.
Meg Browers,
Aye.
Penny Dye,
Aye.
Abby DeMolina,
Aye.
Shanta Murphy,
Aye.
and Brian Sullivan's an aye. Okay.
Brian, Mr.
Yes.
Chair, is there anything on the application where we could have a checkbox for the qualified family member and the relationship? Is that on there, or can it be added if it's not?
My advice, and I'll defer to Vicky, is we don't add that because it's familial status, and it's just we don't need to know that. If the program is qualified, is my first reaction under fair housing.
I
Christy?
could add, included in their application was the special permit from the planning board that qualified this as a family covenant, the qualified family member covenant creation.
Okay, that's helpful. It's somewhere in the application. I just missed it. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
It is a requirement of the creation, but I don't know that the funding application necessarily needs it. Any more on that? Took that vote. That's good. There's a request from Nantucket Cottage Hospital to extend the parking license agreement at 16 Vesper Lane. Christy, can you, who wants to take this one? I just saw Tracy come on. Christy, who's up?
I'm happy to walk us through this. So this is a similar request as last year. Nantucket Cottage Hospital had a license agreement with the trust to use our property at 16 Vesper Lane as overflow parking for their staff. We approved this last year, actually a little bit earlier in the year. It was in March that it had started, and it goes through the summer. They're requesting this year for the license to be through October 31st. And I did emphasize to them that this parcel is currently in review for the request for proposals for development. And so in the license agreement, we would need to add something along the lines of being able to access this for any needs if the RFP is awarded and the potential developers need any access to the site, and they said they were agreeable to that. So if the trust members are in favor of extending this license, I would work with Vicky Marsh to draft up that new license with the language and get it executed with town council's approval.
Any question from members for Christy or Vicky on that? Christy, my question is, it's just through when? This October?
Yes.
Okay, so short. Okay. Would anyone like to make a motion based on the recommendation?
I would like to make a motion to approve the recommendation or to follow the housing office's recommendation to allow for a parking license agreement at 16 Vesper for the hospital.
Great. Thank you, Megan.
Yep.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Abby. Vote by roll, Brooke Moore,
Aye.
Meg Browers,
Aye.
Penny Dye,
Aye.
Abby DeMolina,
Aye.
Chantal Murphy,
Aye.
and Brian Sullivan's an aye. Okay, status reports. We still don't have these. Good. Okay, status reports on affordable housing trust fund grants, loans, and update. We have Richmond, Andrew Burek here to update on Meadows 1, 2, and Sandpiper 1 projects. Christy, do you want to soft open or go right to Andrew?
I can do a soft open. I just wanted to remind the trust, we've been inviting recipients of our grants and loans to attend meetings and just give an update. It's, for the public to be able to be updated on the progress, but we also have been discussing through our communications efforts to make sure that we're celebrating, the wins that we're doing and the projects that are completing. And Richmond has really moved the needle on a lot of our projects. And so I wanted to bring them to discuss the status of their projects, which are mostly complete. I'll turn it over to you, Andrew.
Awesome.
Thank you, Christy. Thank you, Brian, Mr. Chair. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for the invitation and this opportunity to give an invite to you or an update to you all. I'll go in order with respect to the grants and applications and funds received with respect to an update. The original grant funding, or actually this was a loan, was for the Sandpiper Place 1 and 2 acceleration project that we collaborated with the trust fund on. This, and for most of you are familiar faces to me, to those of you that I haven't worked with in the past, I'll give you a brief update and or overview of what this loan was for. It was a $3.1 million principal loan that was advanced to Richmond for the construction of 6 80% AMI homes and 1 175% AMI restricted home. The loan in the amount of $3.1 million was funded on May 3rd, 2024. It was just recently repaid in full with the final sale of the 7 homes that were secured by the mortgage. That was repaid in full on May 12th, 2025. In full for the just over 1 year of time that the loan was outstanding. The loan, the $3.1 million in principal, was repaid with $115,885 in interest. Each of those 6 80% homes is permanently SHI eligible. The 175% home, of course, does not receive SHI credit, but is part of the town's overall subsidized housing inventory for its broader scheme of affordability that it intends to offer to residents. These homes were advertised as part of a lottery, a 7-unit lottery, that the application deadline was in 2023. Close to the end of May, the lottery was conducted in June and the wait lists were assembled in July 2023. So we're talking about home selections that occurred about 2 years ago from today's time. At that time, the asset limit for an 80% home was $75,000. The asset limit for a 175% home was $450,000. I know this information is germane to the work that's done at the Affordable Housing Trust Fund and will probably be of interest. For these 7 homes, there were 139 total applications. 71 were determined to be waitlist eligible, so 71 qualified homes. Out of those 71, 53 were 80% applications and 18 were 175% applications. So that boils down to, on the 80% homes, the 6 that were available, a ratio of about 9 qualified households to 1 available home. And on the 175% home, a ratio of 18 to 1. We sold these homes throughout the course of a year's time, and the sale prices, when they were advertised, were lesser than they are today, of course, due to the passage of time. The income numbers get updated as we go along. The 80% homes were sold at $284,000 even, and the $175,000 home was sold at $781,000. They're both the same product, 3 beds, 2.5 baths on about 5,000 square feet, surface parking for up to 3 vehicles, I believe. Comparatively today, the 80% home price would be, the maximum sale price would be right around $360,000. So not quite $100,000 more. And the restricted sale price on a 175% home would be $871,000. So significantly more, but you know, still about as inexpensive as can be found within the island's inventory. So I'll pause there on the home ownership aspect of this, and entertain any questions that you might have.
Seeing none, Andrew, let's keep moving forward.
Thank you. So the next phase of this all applies to rental. There was a first phase of a grant fund that was for the Gooseberry Place acceleration, $5 million grant funding. So this had to do with the final phases of our Meadows 2 project, phases 5 and 6, that were just recently completed as of January 2025. These were for 55 total SHI eligible units. This deal also included a 10-unit master lease to the town, which consisted of 2 studios, 3 one-bedroom units, 4 two-bedroom units, and 1 3-bedroom unit. The $5 million applied to 12 additional AMI restricted units. So that brought the total count from the first phase lottery we had for Gooseberry, including the second phase lottery we had with these additional 12 units, from 15 to 27. So 15 plus 12 is 27. So out of the 55 total units in those phases 5 and 6, 27 are affordably restricted at some level. The latest lottery that we had was for 2 80% AMI units, 5 at 110% AMI, and 5 at 120% AMI. The information sessions were late 2024. The application deadline was also late 2024, December, and the lottery occurred on January 9th of this year, January 9th, 2025. I have more lottery data pertaining to both the initial phase lottery and the second phase lottery for phases 5 and 6. If that's of interest to the board, I can run through it.
Please.
The first set of Gooseberry units that were advertised and awarded for lottery units were all 80%. So for those 15 units, we received 160 total applications, 125 of which were determined to be lottery or waitlist eligible. So that's an attrition rate of about 22%. 22% of the households determined either they didn't need housing or didn't want to live in this particular, didn't want to participate in this particular lottery, or the lottery, material, the process was, too cumbersome. So in terms of gross applications, we're talking about 10.66 to 1 gross applications to available lottery units in this phase, 8.33 to 1 net eligible. So 8 households for every 1 available restricted unit. I can break that down even more. The 1-bedroom units, there were 40 qualified households. For the 2-bedroom units, there were 75. And bear with me, I just have to point out, there's a little bit of overlap. So some households will qualify for more than one type of housing. So if these numbers seem to be like they're too many and it's combination by replacement, that is actually happening, because certain households, when they apply for these, they say, my household size could qualify for a 2-bed, a 1-bed, and a studio, and I want whatever is available to you based on my lottery results. So the 2-bedroom units, we received 75 qualified households. That's a ratio of about 21 to 1 in that lottery. For the 3-bedroom units, we received 44 qualified households. It's a ratio of 26 to 1. The studio units were 37 applicants for 4 units. It's a ratio of 9-to-1. On average, you can break it down even further by unit type and preference, but the local preference ran in excess of 80% for every available unit type, which I think is to be expected for folks that are required to live year round on the island. For the second phase lottery, we had roughly, I guess, what you would consider to be similar data. So we had 174 total applications. We had 141 eligible households. So that's an attrition rate of about 19%. We lost 19% between people who didn't proceed with the lottery or weren't determined to be eligible for a variety of reasons. For the 12 units, we had a ratio of about 14.5 eligible households per 1 unit and 11.75, 11.75% to 1 net eligible households. In terms of an update on the leasing, all the units for these particular phases have been leased with the exception of 2. We have 2 vacant units. Both are 120% AMI. One is a 1-bedroom unit. The other is a studio. We expect that these will be leased shortly. The wait lists are still fairly substantial. Just to pass along a little bit of qualitative information, the responses we've gotten for the folks that have backed out of these units is one said the process is too difficult. The other went all the way through the process, was vetted through SEB, the consultant, and our office, and basically decided they didn't want to be a year-round Nantucket resident after all of that. So we're moving on, to the next eligible households and expect that the next eligible households will take them. In my experience, while I don't have specific data to report to you, we go through I've only ever seen a unit go through 2 households in terms of eligibility, and then never gotten any further than that, just because of the scarcity of housing. So just qualitatively speaking. So that's an update on Gooseberry. Just generally speaking, I thought I would report to the board what the 80% limits are for households and what compared to the 175% limits per household that we are seeing. I'll give you the 4-person. So under current AMI numbers, the 4-person AMI income limit for 80% is $119,000, $750, 119,750, and for the 175% limits, it's 286,125. That's it for Gooseberry. I don't know if anybody has any questions. I'll pause there and respond.
Seeing none, let's keep moving forward.
All right, so the final phase of award that Richmond participated in with the trust fund, the Meadows 1 Chicory Place AMI conversion that Brian mentioned earlier, which is currently being advertised. The information session is actually today, June 3rd. It's a $3.725 million grant in exchange for a conversion of 7 formerly market rate units to 80% AMI units. So that's $133,000 per SHI eligible unit. Or if you look at it as, because in this particular case, the conversion of 7 units results in 28 SHI eligible units, a blended average of $105,000 per unit, which comparatively to other projects in Nantucket, I view that as fairly good rate. The restricted units that are being advertised have been vacant as of March 1st, 2025. They are currently being cleaned and renovated for occupancy. The unit mix is 2 studios, 1 1-bedroom unit, and 4 2-bedroom units. The maximum rents as advertised are $1,927 for a studio, $2,197 for the 1-beds, and $2,437 per month for the 2-beds. The application deadline, Brian already mentioned. I mentioned the public information session is today, June 3rd. The lottery will be held and conducted July 8th. So I guess in summary, out of all these transactions combined, we basically have resulted in 83 total SHI eligible units. 34 of those units are in some way affordably restricted. So that's 24 at 80% AMI. The other 10 were at 120% AMI for the rentals. So that's an overall 41% of units having some affordability characteristic tied to them as a result of all these transactions.
Andrew, good
That's
moment for you for
information.
questions.
Sure, absolutely.
Great. Penny?
Yeah, through you, Mr. Chair, to Mr. Burek. Can you give us just a kind of summary about the unit sizes that are in the highest demand? I mean, it sounds to me like it's 2-bedroom, but is that accurate?
For a good while, it was 2 bedrooms. It has now converted to 1 bedrooms. I think just because of the gross amount of rent payable per month.
Mm-hmm.
I think many folks, at least qualitatively, what I hear from leasing staff is the 1 bedrooms are in highest demand across all income categories.
Is that reflective of household size as well? It must be.
I believe it is, yes.
Yeah, thank you. That's helpful.
Any other questions for Andrew? Seeing none, Andrew, thank you for the updates today. Very helpful to hear the particulars. Can you send your summary notes to the office? It would be helpful for me to see all that written out.
Sure. Happy to participate and respond to those questions, getting them in writing to you all. Christy, if you'd like to correspond separately outside of the meeting, I can get you any information that I presented to the board today.
Great.
And
Thank you all. Nice to see you
Chair, I
all.
just wanted to thank Andrew and Richmond. Over the past year, they've added 90 units through all of these programs. So they really have been a lead partner in getting units added to our SHI list and deed restricted units into our inventory. So thank you, Andrew, for all of your collaboration.
Keep it going.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Okay. So that moves us to board comments, but Christy, we have a new group on. Is this the 8th grade class?
Yes, we
Chloe
have
Washington?
Chloe Washington.
Hi.
Hi, Chloe. If you wouldn't mind just introducing you and anybody else that's with you, and then we can hand it over to you through you, Brian.
Okay, I'm Chloe Washington and I'm with McKinley Payne. And we're doing a civics project on housing on Nantucket and how it's affected us personally and other people in the community. And we think that housing is an issue on Nantucket because a lot of our teachers and coaches and everyone in the community that has been a part of our lives have had to move or couldn't be like have secure housing because they couldn't find secure housing because of the prices and theirs just wasn't reliable. Okay.
Thank you, Chloe. And so just to give a little more background, so you're in 8th grade here in your civics class, and there's a group of you working on kind of understanding the problem more, and you guys are working to look for solutions?
Yes,
Yeah.
there's a few of us, but some 2 people couldn't come because they're on the Lynx trip.
Oh, fun.
Yes.
You guys are busy, right? Being on
Yes.
on Zoom meetings, links class,
Yes.
that's great. So have you, so you've identified some problems for some teachers and other students and families. Have you learned about programs and things and that exist out there and groups like ours to be support?
Not really, but we haven't really finished our like complete like researching on like looking for like other people that like support this and
So you have a very dedicated group of individuals here on this call who meet twice a month and work in a variety of ways on housing. There are other organizations on the island as well, like I never get the acronym right. Somebody please step in and help me. The Food, Fuel, and Rental Assistance is one organization to be looking towards. Housing Nantucket is another organization to be looking towards. We do a lot of advocacy work about housing. This group does at the state level. Someone from your group emailed me, and I apologize, I don't remember the name, but sent back some ideas. If you want to review past meetings, there's a lot of things that we talk about. what Andrew Burek was just here presenting, the person before you, were about restricted price units. And at the beginning of the meeting, we announced a homeownership opportunity through Habitat for Humanity on Nantucket, and there will be a lottery, and applications are due by June 16th. And we also announced a separate lottery for rental units that will be due June 23rd, which will be price restricted as well. So these are both opportunities for you to learn more about and share in your community.
Okay.
Megan?
Thanks, Chloe. There's also a group called Nantucket Education Trust that is the nonprofit that runs the teacher housing behind the schools. And I serve on that board, and there's a couple other people that I'm sure you know, Hadley Dutra, the superintendent, Beth Hallett. So if you want to know more about the teacher housing situation, or I should say staff housing, that's an option for you.
Okay, thank you.
Do you have any questions for us today that and how can we support you?
I don't think so. Chloe, do you have any?
No. No, I think you basically covered it. It's just anything that's coming up.
Okay, so I will, hopefully Christy won't kill me, but I'll speak for Christy and myself. School's getting out very soon, but if you have another class and it would be helpful for us to come visit, we can potentially make our schedules open to come join you in person and do
Okay.
more with the group.
Okay, thank you.
All right, well, thanks for joining us today.
Of course, thank you.
Thank you.
And thanks for being involved.
Of course.
Thank you.
Okay, with that, we'll close, let's see, whichever item that was. Item 6, then jump down to board comments. Item 10. Are there any comments, questions from members of the board? Penny?
Yeah, I just want to give a quick update on Wiggles Way, which is we have received the temporary CO for the final building, which we all knew as building number 2, which allowed people to move in. My understanding is of the 22 units, 20 of them will be occupied by July 1st. The landscaping, as you can see if you drive by, is going on. A bond was posted with the town in order to secure that temporary CO. And what remains to be done is some landscaping, minor, most of it's done, and the final coat of paving by Victor Brandon. And that is pretty, oh, and the as-bills, that's pretty much it, so.
Great. Awesome. Thank you, Penny. Thanks for all of the extra meetings, the construction group meetings that you've attended over the last 2+ years.
Almost 4, but thank
Okay.
you.
Megan?
Just click the wrong tab. I just wanted to say to Christy and anyone else who ends up serving on the communications committee, I don't know what the bylaws require or what have you, but as you guys move into the winter and start thinking about communications, when I'm no longer on the trust, if I can be helpful, just let me know.
Awesome. Thank you. Any other board comments? Seeing no action, close board comments, other business. Next meeting, we have listed June 17th at 12:30, followed by July 1st, at 12:30. Any other business? Seeing none, I'll look for a motion to adjourn regular session, not to return for the to adjourn into executive session for the purpose of discussing negotiating positions in real estate that could have a detrimental effect. Hopefully I got that one. Anyone like to make that motion?
I'll make it.
Thank you, Penny. In a second.
Second.
Thank you, Abby. By roll call, Meg Browers,
Aye.
Brooke Moore,
And I'm going to tap out now and I'll come back in when I'm free after this meeting.
Great.
Thank you, guys.
thank you, Abby De Molina,
Aye.
We moved. I got Meg, I got Abby. Penny, did I get Penny?
Hi.
You got
And-
Brooke. Brooke left.
Okay, Brooke and Chantal's gone, and I'm a Brian Sullivan. I think I've got everybody. There's 4 of us now. Okay, great. We'll see you in the other link.